Does it go back to what you've been stressing, though? Winning time, final moments of the game?
Again, I think when I walked up, I heard you guys talking about the turnovers that led to easy baskets. And that's really, you think about, we talked about, Withy, it can block shots. And DeMarcus's layup, I think that led to 2 points on the other end. Javon goes in and gets one blocked. Then we come out of a timeout and don't execute, try to back cut when that's not what we were looking for, turn the ball over, and Javon has it slip out of his hand. I mean, that's how fine a line it is. And you take those plays in the second half away, you're going to look at they shot 39%, 50% in the second half. You take those baskets away that are gimmies, they're going to shoot that percentage. But it goes back to offensive execution and taking care of the details. And we had a couple plays too, like I think we had secured the rebound, and I think they called John for a play where he just knocked somebody out of bounds, plays like that. Those are the plays you can't make at crucial times. But defensively, we did some good things. It's just that, again, offensively, we didn't execute when we had to execute when it gets down to, and it became a possession game.
When everything was going right, that 12-zip run gave you the 11-point lead. What was going right?
DeMarcus Holland. I thought defensively, I thought he really brought some energy up. He did what we asked. He was able to go up and just disrupt their offense by him denying a point guard, just really going out, just disrupting them a little bit. And DeMarcus did some good things. And even when he was in the game, we started really slowing down for him, not asking him to really push it in transition, but he kept going to the right side. They started setting on it where what we were doing, he could have gone either way with it, but again, a problem there was, again, our wings were too slow. TJ and I talked about it the other day. They're too slow getting into the offense, and they're leaving him out there on an island where it really disrupts the flow of what we're trying to do.
I got a two-part question for you. One is, do you get the sense that this team is, one, close win away down the stretch like this from kind of really rounding the corner? And two, is there any way to really simulate that in practice? As many situations as y'all work on, it's nothing like the game, wouldn't you say, to getting that rounding that corner?
Well, we can ask TJ that. I mean, as a player, you were in those situations a lot. I do think it comes at a point in time where it gets down to it's still a player's game, and you've got to execute, and all five guys have to execute what's going on at the time. They have to have a feel for the game. They have to have a feel that right now, you got to get a shot. We can't come out of a timeout and not get a shot. You can't drive in and throw up a shot. Cam had a tough shot, and we have a play that we could have gotten into at the end of that. That's a tough shot, and that goes back to we can talk about youth or whatever, but it goes back to, I think, discipline. I think it goes back to everybody doing what they're supposed to do. At the very end too, we ran the play where, we were screening down for Julian, and he was coming off getting the elbow, and he hit an elbow jumper that I think got it back to one. But then the next time down, they start switching it, so we said we want whoever with these man's guarding to go down and screen, and we never got to that. Yeah. Those are the plays, and sometimes you got to make those plays on the fly because we don't have timeouts to stop it every time we want to, but it goes back to a sense of urgency.
We've seen the moments where you're getting into the paint. You go back to Iowa State, you see Julian Lewis great on the baseline, getting to the paint. DeMarcus Holland, we saw a moment here, the ability to get to the paint. Are you seeing enough of that consistently, the aggressiveness, the toughness to get there?
No, I think we should drive more. Especially if people are going to spread out, and we wanted to attack the lane today as much as we could. We really wanted to go inside and make Withy guard more down there. Plays that are crucial plays are like, McLemore, who I thought we did a pretty good job of early. One time, he's their leading scorer and arguably their best player. We give him 15 feet of separation. And I think that goes back to, and it was Julian where he had a shot he missed on the other end that he let carry over to the other end. Those are the plays you can't do. Then Cam, for the most part, made Withy work. Then he gives him what he loves to do, the up and under. Yeah. Those are the things we have to stay. Those are crucial plays, and it goes back to not getting caught up in the atmosphere, which I think young guys do. I think people do that. You're so locked into what's going on the floor.
How do you – what's the conversation when your team is playing so well and a team is making a run? How do you in a timeout? How do you keep these guys composure and keep these guys understanding that, you know, they made a run, now we got to come back and still be really, really sound and execute what we're trying to do on the offense and defensive end?
That's a good point, because if you go back and look at the tape, I don't know what the camera showed, but we did it. You know, guys get these scowls on their face and all this, and there's still, what, 12, 10 minutes to go in the game, and there's a lot of time left. And I always, as a coach, I mean, I understand the emotion of it, but yet you got to contain it too, to where you've got to realize it's a long way to go, and, you know, act like you've been there. You know, say, hey, this is part of it. Yeah, let the fans get excited, but and you, I mean, you were great at it. I mean, you kept between the lines and kept your thought process there. I do think young players get too caught up in what's going on with the fans. But when they're going well, you're on the road. If it's not going well, the other team's getting after it. You know, and that it's concentration. Again, Drew said it. You can assimilate as much as you can in drills, but when the game is on, the lights are on, it gets down to where players have to understand we have a purpose here, we have a plan, and there's a sense of urgency. And coming out of the timeout, when after Javon turned that over, I asked him, I said, I don't understand why you did that. Sheldon now said it was my fault. And I said, I'm not sure whose fault it was, other than we didn't do what we needed to do in that situation. And, you know, my faults, enough of them get you beat. You can say it, but that's not what you want to hear. You want to, if you're going to turn it over, you want to turn it over trying to execute what you're trying to do. And we turned it over doing something we weren't supposed to be doing.
I love your honesty. You tell it how it is, and you always say, I mean, basically the numbers, the tape, it speaks for itself. But is this team at this point, from what you've seen with the development, is it better than a team that's 0-4 in Big 12 play?
Well, Todd Wright told me going into this game, and I'm not big into what ifs. He said, you know, we're 4 possessions away from arguably being 12-4. But the fact is, we are who we are. We're 8-9, and we've had a chance to win a lot of games, but we haven't won it because, and it goes back to, and it's pretty simple. And I've told the guys, and it's the same things we keep talking about. It goes back to offensive execution. When the game's on the line, the other team's trying to get after you. They're going to make you work, and guys have to work hard to get open. They may have to, you know, change directions, you know, bump a guy a little bit, get into the screen, defensive rebound. It's not just offense. I mean, we gave up a couple key defensive rebounds that we've got to come up with. And I just don't think you can play this game if you're tentative, but I also don't think you can play it if you don't have in mind what you're trying to get done. Yep. And so we go up and down with it.
Well, we've seen it at practice. We know it's being stressed. It's just a matter of time before it all comes together. Coach, we appreciate your time and look
Thanks,
forward
Coach.
to that.